Hi, I'm Kelly with Blue Water Photo, and today I wanted to take a look at the new Ikelite housing for the Sony A7R II camera. The Sony A7R II, before we jump into the housing, there's actually 3 different camera models, and this housing will work with all 3 of them. The only difference in the physical construction of the 3 cameras is that on the A7R II and the A7S II, there is a button for locking the mode dial. So the Ikelite housing actually ships with a compatibility kit. If you don't have the A7R or the A7S, you'll switch out a little rubber bumper on the mode dial, and that will allow it to work fine with the A7 II with no issues. The cameras, just for a quick little background, the A7 II is the standard model. It has 24 megapixels. It's got a lot of improvements from the original A7 model, like better autofocus, better low light performance, better image stabilization overall. The next one would be the A7S II, which is really designed for video shooters. It's got very low resolution, 12 megapixels, but that allows all the pixels to be really large and really absorb a lot of light, making it a really excellent low light shooting camera. And then the final camera is the A7R II, which the R is for resolution. This is a high resolution camera with 42 megapixels. It has a new backlit sensor, which really improves the overall low light performance. And both the A7R II and the A7S II can shoot 4K video internally, which is a huge improvement from the original camera, which required an external recorder in order to do 4K. So let's look at the Ikelite housing. One of the first things you may notice if you're familiar with Ikelite housings is this is one of their new construction housings. Instead of being completely clear, you've got a opaque beige housing front. It's a stronger and lighter blend of polycarbonate, which is really nice for underwater. The back of the housing is very similar to what you're going to be used to. It's the nice clear acrylic. It allows you to easily see that you've got no sand, hair, grit, etc. on your O-ring to know that that seal is great. And you've got all of your buttons, you've got your viewfinder attachment and your LCD window as well. So everything works really well. The housing, just like other mirrorless housings, does not ship with a port. So in order to use it underwater, you'll need to get the appropriate port for your lens. And the Ikelite A7R II housing uses the same DSLR port, so it has a larger opening, which allows any of the lenses to work well, including some of the Canon lenses with Metabones adapters, like the 100mm or the 8-15. So you've got a really nice full variety of lens options with this housing. The other benefit to the Ikelite housing is the Strobe TTL. It offers true TTL from inside the camera, and it actually uses the camera's flash controls to control that TTL. So you're getting really good true TTL shooting with Ikelite strobes. Unfortunately, the TTL will not work with other brand strobes such as CNC or Inon. Let's take a look at some of the controls. You've got a mount up here for attaching a ball for accessories like a focus light or a GoPro or whatever you'd like to put on there. You've got your strobe bulkhead here. There's a secondary bulkhead for if you wanted to put some sort of HDMI outlet or whatnot. All the controls are pretty easy to use. One nice thing about that clear back window is you can actually see in to make sure they're aligned properly, make sure you're not having any issues with the camera. It does ship with a single handle, which is designed to be used on the left. Allows for easy zooming in and out if you have a zoom lens attached. It's got the quick release so you can take your strobe arms in and out with ease. And it has a nice little grip here for your right hand side if you don't want to buy the secondary double handle tray. So you can grip it nicely. Underwater it's a lot lighter than it is on land. You've got shutter button here, and then you have your controls for aperture, for shutter speed back here, on and off button, mode dial and bracketing. You've got all your custom buttons, recording button, and all the other buttons on the back. So you have full access to everything except for the one rear dial on the back of the housing, which most of the other housings don't give you access to either. The only real difference with the Ikelite housing than some of the higher quality aluminum housings that you may see on the market is that I find you definitely need your thumb and forefinger to be able to control some of the knobs. It's not an easy one finger control. The reason for this is a lot of these use force to push down a little bit to turn it with a rubber piece inside. So if you just turn it, you won't turn the dial. You actually have to push it down and then turn it so it really engages with the dial. The on and off switch also I find is easiest if you pull it up, position it, and then turn the camera on. Likewise, pull it up, position it over, and then turn the camera off. It doesn't have a dual prong thing to make it easy to turn on and off, so just remember to pull it up. Let's take a look real fast at the inside of this housing. It's very secure, very easy to get in and out. There's 3 latches, 2 on the sides, 1 on the top. You push up on the release and then pull up on the latch, which will release that. Likewise over here. And then on the third one, just be careful, the handle can be somewhat in the way. Simple there, and then it just simply lifts off. So you can see all the buttons have good rubber tips, push in and out, the springs are well made, and you have also got the ability to attach some of Ikelite's external viewfinders. The O-ring is easy to remove for maintenance and lubricating, and then it slides right back into place there. Again, the clear acrylic back makes it really easy to see if your O-ring has any hairs or grit on it. The inside of the housing is very simple. The camera is on a camera tray. It does not lock, it simply slides in and out, and then there's also the attachment for the strobe connection. Before pulling the camera out, you want to make sure to remove the connection. It does lock in place so it doesn't accidentally get dislodged while diving. And then pull up on a couple of the controls and simply slide the camera out of the housing. It's very easy. They even built a 1/4-20 tripod attachment to the bottom of the tray, so if you're doing both underwater and topside shooting, you can leave this tray attached and switch between your underwater housing and your topside tripod without having to then also take the tray on and off and possibly forget or lose it. You also have access to your battery compartment with the tray on, which makes it really nice for changing the batteries between dives. To reinstall it in the housing, you just simply slide it into place and then push down the appropriate dials so that they're engaged. And lastly, slide this piece in, which just like that, and then turn the dial to lock it into place, and that will get you ready to go. Closing the housing is just the opposite of opening it. Simply check your O-ring for any bits that might cause it to flood, set it into place properly, get your clasps set, and then push them down, and they lock securely. There's no chance of these coming undone during a dive, so as long as you check that your O-ring is good, you should have a nice seal throughout. The ports are easy to take on and off. It uses their standard 4-port locks. You simply push up here and slide the port lock back. Do it for all 4. The housing just pushes on and off, so there's no twisting or bayonet turn of the O-ring, which is really nice. Simply slide it back in until it clicks down, and that way it's locked in place and your port's not going to go anywhere. Overall, this housing is a really great choice, especially if you're on a budget but still want to have the excellent full-frame quality of the Sony A7 II series of cameras. After producing this housing, they also went back and made a housing for the A7 series, the original cameras. So if you have that camera and want to get into underwater photography, you actually can also get an Ikelite housing for it. If you have any questions or are interested in purchasing, please give us a call or send us an email at sales@bluewaterphotostore.com. Thanks so much for watching our video.